Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we're going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations to the hopeful elect brothers out there pushing this truth with all diligence and sincerity, risking your freedoms and your lives to do so. All right. This article that I got sent says it's gentle parenting creating behavioral problems in schools. And we know, of course, what the scriptures have to say to that. And, you'll have people that try to attest to it. They'll speak against what is right, but hey, in the scriptures, it says that you're supposed to discipline your child as well as teach them. And that's a part of the lesson. You got a lot of Jakes, which is surprising. You have Jakes that speak against whooping your child. And there's a difference between abuse, which abuse means misuse. So to be honest, when you let your children do whatever the fuck they want to do, that's an abuse in itself because they turn out rotten. All right. But it says, if you have kids, teach kids, or know people who do either, you've probably heard of gentle parenting. The parenting style has had a meteoric rise. I don't know how to say that word. I'm not familiar. Meteoric rise in popularity in the last few years, especially on social media, right? Because people try to take things that they think is progressive, and they try to use that to say that whooping is so primitive and that's some caveman stuff. We live in a new century, all right. But really, what's going on nowadays is society is devolving. They're not evolving. They're decreasing. In every way. It says, unlike traditional authoritarian methods, because really that's the whole purpose of you putting your child in their place. It shows that who still holds the authority. Yeah, we can be cool, but at the same time, the respect is had, and there's a certain honor that you give your parents that you wouldn't give a friend. There's a certain honor that you would give an uncle and an aunt that you wouldn't give somebody that's off the street. And as well as teachers. That's the reason why back in the day they used to have it in the schools, so the teachers would also keep that same standard of discipline to understand, so the kids would understand that you couldn't come against the teachers as well. And that's the reason why you have a lot of issues in school too. It says, and gentle parenting focuses on the parent's behavior and creating a secure bond as well as a supportive environment for the child's growth. This includes employing positive reinforcement over punitive measures and teaching values and behaviors through guidance rather than coercion. It says gentle parenting is rooted in deep respect for children. Psychologist Sarah Ockwell Smith told Health Day. In short, I described it as the way you wish your parents had treated you when you were a child, which that just goes to show you that these people have psychological problems that push this madness because they have unsettled memories of their childhood that they didn't know how to deal with, and their parents didn't properly deal with. You did have parents back in the day that did, whoop their children and they didn't teach them anything. Or also, these are also bad children that didn't want to receive that they were wrong in a situation. All right. But I'm gonna get some scriptures to break this down as well. But it says, if there's any group of people besides parents who can get behind positive discipline, empathy-based guidance, and emotional regulation, surely it's teachers, right? Here's the problem. Some teachers are saying the side effects of gentle parenting are creating behavior problems at school, right? Because that's not how the Lord created things, man. But this is Proverbs 11:1, because as I broke down, it's not just you whooping your child. You also have to teach them and make them understand the reason why they're getting hit or disciplined, whether you're putting them in the corner or they're holding books, because there's many different forms of discipline. They're being put in a tough situation because they were doing something wrong. And the only way to really figure out that something's wrong is to go through a tough situation. Even life teaches you that. You don't want to go back to messing up, so you do things a different way. But this is Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is abomination to the Lord Yahweh, but a just weight is his delight. And really, that's just, it's funny. Jacob make they've made the saying that that white people didn't have no problem with beating black people, but they all of a sudden they don't want to whoop their kids, and that's really because they don't love their kids, man. All right. Because it tells you in the scriptures that this is something you're supposed to do. It's not something that you want to do. Nobody wants sits up all day and like, I want to just go whoop that little motherfucker's ass. It's not the spirit of someone who's caring. All right. You do it because it's something you don't want to do. You want your child to just be in the right mindset when they go out into the world, because you're preparing them for the world without you. All right. This is Proverbs chapter 13. Verse verse 24, it says, he that spareth his rod hateth his son. So if you don't discipline your son, guess what? You don't love him. But he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. All right. So it says before, betimes, man. Early. You whoop your child early, so when they begin to grow, they carry this mindset of, oh nah, I can't do that. My daddy will whoop my ass. This is something that the kids and children growing up, when they become young men, young women, they carry that into their adulthood because it's a shame that you're doing something wrong and you know it's wrong. And the first thing that every child always said when you be hanging around in the neighborhood, kids about to get into some trouble, oh, hell no, my daddy gonna whoop my ass. My mama gonna whoop my ass. That kept you away from getting into trouble or getting hurt or going to prison, man. And those are the values that are no longer instilled in the children today, man. And that's a part of the prophecy. I'm gonna get that as well. It's the reason why all this is happening, man. I'm gonna read some more of this article. It says, first, let's look at what the teachers are saying on the topic. In this Reddit post, it says, it makes students think every part of the day is up for negotiation, and it does. All right? They forget that they're the child, man. They think that they can reason with you. And that's also a part of the judgment that the Lord is bringing, where he's going to judge old and young, all together, Because you people have given these children a pass by saying, oh, they're just children. But that's y'all have taken the child out of a child's place. Now these children react like adults, but expect to get spared like you would someone that's weaker. But half these children out here committing murder, man. All right, rape, theft. And that's all because there's no discipline and order, really a father in most of these homes. And if the father is there, he's more of a joke. He's just there as a side, man. Something that no one takes seriously. This is Proverbs 19:13. It says, a foolish son is the calamity of his father, and the contentions of a wife are a continual dropping. Exactly, man. That's talking about a dysfunctional home. All right. Which is mainly where a lot of these children are being the results of, man. Broken homes. Because when no father's there, or, say if he is there and he is whooping ass and nobody's listening, that's a dysfunctional home. Because the whole point of a man putting down his foot isn't to be abusive, as they would say, or to just have everybody in complete fear. It's so that he would correct the house to keep the house safe. That's what this is about. Oh, you just want to tell somebody what to do. Well, yeah, in the spirit, you want them to be safe, but not in some type of controlling shit. These people always try to, some narrative where, you just want to be a tyrant. No, it's really all about love. It says, I teach kinder, so we always see several very attached and overly permissive parents and the consequences in the classroom. Kids are used to being coddled, used to getting their own way, etc. This year, we have more than the usual number who are used to being in charge are used being asked. It's like she typed that, used to being asked like things like, are you ready to go? And are you ready to eat? As opposed to, it's time to go, or it's time for lunch. Exactly. And I've noticed this as well in a lot of societies. Well, not a lot of societies, but in a lot of situations in society where, people get offended when you kind of say things directly, whether it be your wife, sometimes even men's children, if they're like teenage age, they'll question it instead of just going with it, because there's no order, and it's much disobedience in the society. All right. But it says, or I want to go now, or my favorite is stopped raining. We can go to recess now. Or just flat out say no when I tell them to clean up or line up. When I talk to the parents, they freely admit they let their kids decide when to go to the store, when to go to bed, when and what to eat, etc. And when I say school doesn't work like that, we have a schedule and lesson plans and expectations, I just get helpless shrugs. In which that just goes to show you that these parents nowadays, they're really not parenting. All right. They're letting the schools raise their children under certain guidelines. Don't whoop my kids, but, just watch them, feed them. If they complain, oh, she tried to take your phone, I'm about to go down there and whoop her ass. That's the type of parents that we have nowadays, man. Instead of parents that are actually seeing that some part of this result of your child acting this way is ultimately your fault. All right. Skip on down. This is Proverbs 19:18. Chasten thy son while there is hope. Let not thy soul spare for his crime. Like I was saying, once again, it's not about you wanting to harm your child. Because obviously, if you love your child, you have compassion upon them. You don't want to hear them cry, but it's saying you got to ignore that. You have to ignore it so that you can get them right, in the right mindset. All right. In which that, the scriptures even go into, over abusing or not caring for your children. If I can get it. This is Ephesians chapter 6, verse 4. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nurture and admonition of the Lord. Which that works vice versa, because you can, you got certain parents that they'll spoil the shit out of their child don't respect them. All right. Or you also have parents that just, they don't really give a shit about their children. They let their child run wild, or they can over discipline them. And now this child resents them for that. So it's really a balance in his whole spirit that the Lord has created for us to follow. It says it assumes teachers can give the same attention to 30 plus kids that parents give to 1 or 2 at home. And really, even if it was like 1 or 2 at home, of these kids, you still have to supply the same amount of discipline and being on my schedule. I'm not on your schedule. That's how kids, it's just like with us with the Most High. The Most High isn't on our schedule. All right. There's an authoritative guidance right there. All right. You see the authority measures right there, man. Our will ends when it comes to him. We're on his time, not him on our time. So that's the same way that you have to raise your children up. All right. It says, I think this parenting style in a classroom can easily clash in the number. You have 1 or 2 kids. Yeah. So like you have 1 or 2 kids. Yeah, we can take the time to really work through things. You've got 30 all with their own individual needs, 1 teacher to manage them all. It's not necessarily realistic to be able to do the coaching and open conversation, and that way it would probably need to be done. Exactly. You're not going to always hear their complaints, because sometimes most of the things that children are talking about that they want, it's not necessarily anything that's beneficial for the entire class. All right. And it can wait. Versus where they were all on the same accord, we all moving together. You can hear their individual problems if we're all working together for the same goal. Because it's like the house continuing at school, really. It doesn't account for the difference in stamina and frustration level between tasks at home versus school. I think a lot of it boils down to parents can't live with their children's behavior at home because they're desensitized to it, or because their home is lacking structure and expectations and demands of a classroom, so they don't see the behavior. Really, in layman's terms, it's really just single mother homes, man. For the majority of the part, like I was just saying, it's a single mother home. All right. And most of these parents, they just want to have fun with their kids instead of actually getting their kids prepared for life. All right. Um, This is Sirach 30 and 1. It says, He that loveth his son causeth him oft to feel the rod, that he may have joy of him in the end. Right, because the things that are about to come on this earth, you have to have a adult mindset, and we don't have much time. You know, you had children back in the day; they can watch. They would be 8 years old watching the whole house, man. Why? Because it was discipline in the house. You know, a lot of children did have much responsibility on them, but it was a structure that helped them. All right. He that chastises his son shall have joy in him, and shall rejoice of him among his acquaintance. He that teaches his son grieveth the enemy, and before his friends he shall rejoice of him. Though his father die, because like I was saying, you're preparing your children to be able to have your mindset and your spirit without you physically being there. Yet he is as though he were not dead, for he hath left one behind him that is like himself. While he lived, he saw and rejoiced in him, and when he died, he was not sorrowful. He left behind him an avenger against his enemies, and one that shall requite kindness to his friends. He that maketh too much of his son shall bind up his wounds, and his bowels will be troubled at every cry. Right. This man is always going to be looking for help. He's always going to be in a situation. All right. I'm not saying someone is looking for the Most High when you've done everything that you can do and you pray towards Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai and He comes to save you, because that's the spirit we're supposed to have. All right, talking about somebody that's always, hey, you gonna do it for me? You want to do this? That's how these kids even ask questions. If they want something, they don't even ask. They say, hey, you want to go to the store for me? They don't say, hey, kid, do you feel like going to this? They don't even have no type of respect to ask the question anymore, man. All right, but that's just the spirit of this place failing. This is Second Ezra chapter 5, verse 7. It says, And the Sardis mighty sea shall cast out fish and make a noise in the night, which many have not known, but they shall all hear the voice thereof. And that's, you got the moles out nowadays. Shit, most of these children are moles. They're being gay baby, like the little black woman online. Had some disdain against the father, and she's just saying that his child is gay because she probably got played or whatever. Madness, man. There shall be, in verse 8, there shall be a confusion also in many places, which is what's about to happen. It's going to be a lot of things going on because he has these diverse distractions. And most of these people that's in this world, they have no clue what's going on. They're just continuing to live their lives. And the fire shall be off sent out again. All right, because the Lord is going to bring forth many judgments. And the wild beasts shall change their places. And we saw that in the midst of when Ovid 1:9 started. All right. When people were quarantined indoors, you had animals that were changing their places, and that's going to happen again. He shows you that in that movie, Leave the World Behind. It says, And the menstruous women shall bring forth monsters. All right. And that's what this is geared for. Undisciplined children. Undisciplined children are about to be out here wreaking havoc. What was it? I think it was a purge election year. You had the one little disrespectful girl that went into the bodega and she was breaking stuff. And then when she came back on purge night to try to get the old man, because it's another thing. You have this war of ages. You have an ages war. Gen X, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha. All right. He's put even a war against that. Aside from these gender wars and classes wars and race wars, you're going to have this ages war. One of the reasons why the Lord is going to put a spirit out there to not spare anyone's age. All right. These times are coming. This is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse verse 4. It says, "And the Lord Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof." Right? Because the brothers are tired, man. That's why we complain about these things. We're complaining because these things are not right. All right. But we understand if this society has to end, it has to go against what is right. Because these are the ways that save a society. And we don't want this society to be saved. It's corrupt. It's been corrupt from the beginning. Now we just see the fruition of all of its wickedness. Fruition. We see the death of all of this place. Because you know what? Fruition meaning will prosper. But it says, verse 5, "And to the others he said, in mine hearing, Go ye after him through the city and smite. Let not your eyes spare, neither have ye pity. Slay utterly old and young, both maids and little children, and women." So you see who the Lord really has vendettas against. All right. I just read it. "But come not near any man upon whom is the mark, and begin in my sanctuary." Then they began at the ancient men which were before the house, which is funny, because you got guys like TD taking, I would just say TD fakes, man. I don't even like that. That's a little disgusting to even say what these people have done in the darkness, man. All right. But the Lord is exposing these ancient men, you false prophets, man. All right. Because the majority of this shit is your fault. All right. Committing adultery with men's wives in the churches. All right. Getting the man out of the household. Telling a woman, most of these, I think it was a recent pastor who had even said this. He was definitely trying to get some views, talking about why you on this woman saying that she needs a man, she don't need to be single. Well, you ain't read the scriptures. The scripture says that she shall be saved childbearing. All the ancient women that you love to praise, they had husbands. All right. So it's wickedness that they push these things, man. And once again, it all boils down to the destruction of the so-called black and so-called Hispanic and Native families, man. It started with mostly the Negro family, but shit, it's even gone to the Northern Kingdom now, with this single woman's agenda. All right. The American woman is trash. That is destruction, man. Nobody wants these women. They just want to sleep with these women. All right. You don't want this woman to raise your children unless you've just given up. But with that, I'm going to end this lesson off. I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Kakwadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles once again. Shalom and Kwam Yasharallah.